fifth Birmingham Policy Commission is exploring the case for and against cities. Are they the most appropriate means for accommodating changing populations, demographics, and societal needs? The Future Urban Living Commission is chaired by Lord Shipley of Gosforth.
Well, I'm hugely supportive of the initiative of the University of Birmingham to undertake this commission. It's about rising population, it's about an increasingly elderly population, it's about how people live in a more sustainable environment with sustainable neighbourhoods so that they live and work and play in places close together. It's about how you produce sustainable public transport, reduce dependency upon the car. And given rising population forecasts by 2050, it becomes very, very important that there is some coherent debate and planning around how we see future urban living. And so I welcome the initiative of the University of Birmingham in helping that debate.
The Future Urban Living Commission is led academically by Professor Chris Rogers, Professor of Geotechnical Engineering and Director of the Birmingham Centre for Resilience Research and Education at the University of Birmingham.
This Policy Commission is important to me largely because I'm a civil engineer by discipline. Civil engineers engineer for society within the environment to least cost, so we hit all three pillars of sustainability in what we do. Everything that we do creates a legacy, but civil engineers particularly so because the types of things we design are in use for many decades, sometimes even more than 100 years. So we have a responsibility to make sure that what we do has a purpose for the future, and in our case it's the far future that is relevant. And so the Policy Commission now is raising questions that will effectively form the design brief for civil engineers to act into the far future.
Commissioners are drawn from the public and private sectors, as well as wider academic circles, to bring together leading experts to deliberate and advise the Commission on its activities. Peter Braithwaite is one of the commissioners. He is Sustainability Advisor to CH2M Hill. And he has a special interest in sustainable urban regeneration.
The importance of the Commission for me is the fact that it is totally independent, that we started off with no preconceptions, with no bias. It's not just the case of a few experts sitting together discussing how the future should look. It is looking at a very wide range of skills and coming up with some really robust evidence-based recommendations.
We really do need to change the way we think about cities, the way we react to cities. What we're attempting to do with livable cities is to define an alternative but acceptably good quality of life. We have natural resources on this planet that are in many cases dwindling, and we need to change the way we value those to make sure that there are sufficient resources for everyone.
CH2M Hill through their urban programmes have a very strong interest in cities. This process of the Policy Commission is very much in line with the route that CH2M Hill likes to get involved with, where it's looking at the overall holistic problem in its widest sustainability aspects and helping to manage to develop solutions.
From my perspective, the most important element of this commission is in the depth and the breadth of the views that are coming from the people from whom we're taking evidence. We've engaged a large number of leading thinkers in the broad field of cities.
What the Commission needs to deliver is a report which can help inform public policy debate. It will not itself be an absolute blueprint with every solution, but it will have identified what the key issues are. It will have offered some solutions to many of those problems, and it will produce a route map for policymakers in Whitehall, in universities and elsewhere to try to follow, so that we do produce by 2050 a much improved form of urban and city living.
The future of cities affects us all. It affects you, it affects me, and we all should have a voice in that. So I'd like to create a debate which can then continue on as the legacy of the Commission, so that the report itself isn't the end, it's almost the beginning.